One of Hollywood's most influential and enigmatic faces in the past was Faye Dunaway. Audiences were enthralled with her icy beauty and the uncommon lethal appeal she brought to the film when she first appeared in Bonnie and Clyde. Dunaway became a representation of aspiration and authority in the media industry in network. She won an Academy Award for the performance, solidifying her place in cinema history. However, beneath that glitz was a turbulent and tragic life. Hollywood was rocked by strange relationships, rumors of a challenging attitude, and intense behind-the-scenes conflicts. Specifically, the startling event at the 2017 Oscars thrust Faye Dunaway back into the public eye. Or was there a deeper narrative going on behind the scenes? In today's film, join us as we examine the realities of Faye Dunaway's life and that startling incident. I apologize. No error. This is an error. You guys won Best Picture, Moonlight. Faye Dunaway was born in Bassam, Florida on January 14, 1941. She didn't grow up in a single house. The family traveled around a lot because her father was a military man. Early on, Faye learned to be independent, perceptive, and to keep her distance due to the many changes in her living and educational surroundings. Faye's mother was the most influential person in her life. She was a severe, often icy woman who had high expectations. There was no place for mediocrity in that family. Success was a responsibility rather than something to be proud of. An iron ambition was formed as a result of these forces. She had to draw attention whenever she walked into a room. The stage came as a means of escape. Fa first believed she was in charge of her own fate in school performances. She was no longer the shunned girl from her frequent school transfers on stage. She might be anyone. That skill was refined by strict discipline at Boston University. Faye didn't perform to win over the crowd. In a time when safe feminine stereotypes were prevalent, she dared to reveal both hurt and rage by delving deeply into her inner self. Faye relocated to New York in the early 1960s and took over Broadway. Her tremendous emotional intensity and perfectionism made her stand out in that difficult setting. At the same time, her individuality was evident in her early romantic engagements. Faye was always drawn to powerful, gifted men, but she refused to live in their shadow. Hollywood started looking for fresh faces that were bolder, sharper, and more contemporary by the middle of the 1960s. Faye Dunaway stands out for her challenging look and edgy beauty. She was still a young artist prior to 1967, but everything was set up. Ambition, self-control, and a resolute disposition. And it wasn't by accident that Bonnie and Clyde became available. For a lady who had never taken second place, it was the inevitable moment. Not everyone thought Faye Dunaway was a safe choice to play Bonnie Parker. She was not the kind of soft beauty. She exuded a sense of danger rather than frailty with her sharp eyes, angular face, and arrogant manner. However, it was precisely this that set Bonnie apart as a character. Faye did more than just act on set. She had complete control over everything, including camera angles, cosmetics, and costumes. She realized Bonnie couldn't simply be a bank robber's girlfriend. Bonnie had to be the story's companion, motivator, and emotional catalyst. Additionally, viewers were enthralled by the film's depiction of a woman who was brave, attractive, and driven to overcome conventional norms. One of the most influential and captivating actors in Hollywood at the time, Warren Beatty, co-starred with her. He and Faye Dunaway appeared to have a relationship that went beyond the screenplay. They collided like two strong currents on set. Sharp minds, equal ambition, and egos that refused to submit to one another. Rumors of a love affair that went beyond the realm of film were sparked by this violent clash, which illuminated the screen with passionate attraction. Faye was a difficult actor for Warren to manage. She confronted him, argued with him, and occasionally made him give in. Faye became a true counterpoint in a setting when many women were still viewed as merely ornamental parts for the male lead. This was fascinating and risky at the same time. Because love, if it existed, could not be harmonious when two powerful egos collided. Everything changed practically overnight when Bonnie and Clyde became popular. Faye Dunaway became a symbol of a new generation of women and received an Oscar nomination. Self-reliant, fearless, and unrepentant of her aspirations, she appeared on the covers of major magazines. She was dubbed the face of the new Hollywood by critics. Fame arrived swiftly and spectacularly, but pressure came with becoming famous. Faye realized she couldn't give up. To keep the job she had recently attained, she needed to advance. Her artistic ego grew more noticeable. She wanted to be selected for parts so that she could contribute to the production and make sure the characters she played were never boring. Her successful career was accompanied by volatile romantic impulses. Despite being brief, her connection with Warren Beatty had a profound impact. They were too powerful to remain together for very long. Although they appreciated each other's skills, neither of them was prepared to make concessions. Furthermore, Faye believed that loving a strong man did not entail putting up with being in his shadow. Faye became one of Hollywood's most sought-after actors in the years after Bonnie and Clyde. However, allegations that she was challenging started to circulate along with her accomplishment. She was described by several directors as being extremely meticulous. Some of her co-stars thought she was constantly alert. Maybe they didn't realize that this wasn't just a job for Faye Dunaway. In a society where women were frequently defined by the male standing next to them, it was a struggle to define herself. Faye was no longer a prospective newbie following Bonnie and Clyde's victory. She had come to represent contemporary film, sharp, defiant, and uncompromising. But the true difficulty lay in holding on to that position. She started a phase in the early 1970s where her romantic life and job became increasingly intertwined. Hollywood itself was evolving. Films about power that were gritty and psychologically nuanced were drawing enthusiastic viewers. Faye realized that she had to take on risky parts if she wanted to survive. She was looking for complex characters, women with shadows, paradoxes, and secrets. She co-starred with Jack Nicholson in Chinatown in 1974. Evelyn Mulroney developed into one of the most nuanced figures in both history and movies. Evelyn was more than just enigmatic. She was a victim of a culture ruled by men of dark family secrets and of power. Faye gave her pride coupled with fragility, a glance that always seemed to hide a storm inside. Jack Nicholson and Faye exuded a powerful magnetism on set. They were both sharp, intelligent, and fiercely confident. Though they were never definitively verified, rumors about their intimacy soon spread. The energy between them was more important and took the movie to a new level. The writing was not the sole source of stress. It appeared to reside between two equally aspirational individuals. Faye's reputation for being challenging to work with grew during this time. If she thought a scenario wasn't right, she insisted on many takes. Regarding character development, she disagreed with filmmakers. While some perceived arrogance, others saw commitment. However, Faye believed that a character's depth could not be compromised. Her romantic life began a new phase with her rigorous duties. Faye wed director and photographer Jerry Schatzberg in 1974. Jerry was aware of the demands of the spotlight, the loneliness that comes with being famous, and the artistic world. They were seen by the public as a sophisticated, intelligent, and aspirational pair. She became a historical figure in 1976. Faye did not just take a part when she joined the film network. She embraced an emblem of the time. Diana Christensen, the character she played, was a chilly, aspirational TV executive who would do anything to increase viewership. The part was unlikable. It was a strong woman who had been nearly completely devoid of tenderness, and Faye depicted her with unnerving accuracy. The controlled voice, the cold stare, and every move exuded a desire for dominance. Diana Christensen felt like a statement in a culture still wary of ambitious women. It is possible for a lady to be cruel. She was capable of dominating. She was able to prioritize her work over her feelings. She also didn't need to provide an apology. Faye Dunaway was named Best Actress for her portrayal in Network at the 1977 Academy Awards ceremony. It was the highest point. It was Hollywood's final admission that she was more than just a controversial celebrity or beauty idol. She truly was an artist. A picture taken at the pool at the Beverly Hills Hotel the following morning went on to become famous. Wearing a dark dress, Faye sat by herself. The Oscar statuette sat on the chair next to her, a triumphant and reflective face lit by early sunlight. The picture appeared to convey everything: glowing splendor, but no companion. Her marriage to Jerry Schatzberg was gradually disintegrating behind that victory. Once brought together by a shared love of art, two gifted people were now drawn into different spheres of ambition. Faye was always on the road, taking on new responsibilities and looking for the next challenge. Jerry had a universe of his own. Betrayal was not the cause of the gap. It resulted from life that were traveling at incompatible speeds. They separated in 1979. Her career reached its zenith at the same time as her personal demise. That wasn't a coincidence. Faye had put all of her effort into her work in order to get there. She didn't enter a set to watch what would happen. She studied. She argued. She insisted on excellence. Every part was a fight that needed to be won for her. However, her reputation for being challenging was exacerbated by the same perfectionism. A few directors muttered that she was too domineering. Some of her co-stars thought she was emotionally detached. Behind-the-scenes anecdotes, often incorrect and sometimes inflated, were mined by the press. Although viewers loved her on screen, they were just as intrigued and unsure of the woman who was responsible for the tale. Ironically, Diana Christensen, who prioritized her work above all else, started to resemble the public's perception of Faye: cold, unrelenting, and prepared to make any sacrifice in order to succeed. But was that really her personality? Or was it just the way Hollywood responded to a female artist who dared to express ambition in a field that has long been used to male dominance and women seeming softer than they actually are? When Faye married the well-known British photographer Terry O'Neill in 1983, she discovered another source of stability amidst those scrutinizing eyes. Terry had taken pictures of many famous people from the 20th century. He was aware of celebrity and the delicate times both before and after the flash. Maybe that's why their relationship seemed so well matched at first. Two highly imaginative painters, used to being in the spotlight, knew that there was a person seeking serenity behind each glowing picture. Faye assumed a completely new position in their marriage, motherhood. She had never played a role like the one her son Liam delivered. Motherhood offered no second take, whereas film allowed the opportunity to recreate a scene when it was flawed. Emotions were not produced in real life. Faye had spent years living in a world where her career was the center of attention. She now needed to learn how to balance her time and efforts with her family. However, her career had lost its previous drive at that same period. The frequency of major